Hello, entrepreneurs. I just made it under the wire. Joe DiChiara here once again with another amazing segment of Joe DiChiara Presents How to Win at Business. And it's my proud pleasure to introduce Bedrock University as our number one sponsor. That's right, folks. Go to bedrockuniversity.com. Register for free. We're taking students. Forget about COVID. Our campus is full. We got world-class professors, and who knows how long it's going to take before all the classes are full. So register today at Bedrock University. So happy Thursday. Wow. Almost a whole nother week has gone by, and it just creeps up on me. And it creeps up. Wow, it's Labor Day weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. Where did all the time go? And here we are, Thursday evening. I'm doing another Facebook Live, and tonight I am going to be covering a lot of people's favorite subjects, which I'm going to hold off on telling you if you haven't read the post. And if you're watching live, give me a hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay, so that you'll be included on the threads, I guess. And if you don't know me, if this is the first time watching, welcome. I am a CPA working out of Flushing, New York, and I am a serial entrepreneur. And basically, I got tired of just doing accounting and tax work. So I said, how can I mix things up a little? How can I make things a little bit more interesting? And I started writing about business, talking about business, starting mastermind groups. And after all of this time, 35 years in accounting, working in the trenches with thousands of small business owners, it dawned on me that I actually know a little bit about this. It's only because when you do something, 10 million times, it gets familiar, and there's only so many things that can go wrong when you start a business. So basically what I'm telling you folks is that I've been there, I've done that with any type of business that you can imagine. And I share this information with you, with the public, in order to help, reduce the amount of business failures that are out there. And that's really how this all started. I was obsessed with the statistics of why so many people fail at business. When I thought it was going to be easy, and that's my story. So tonight, we are going to be talking about how to cut your taxes in 2020. We're talking about tax reduction strategies in September. What is that? Shouldn't we be waiting till the end of the year, and then we could scramble? Or better yet, how about we start doing our tax planning? Oh, and I wasn't even sharing the screen, but sorry about that. But yes, we don't do tax planning in April and March. If you're earning money throughout the year, folks, think about this. The taxes are accumulating one way or another. If you're losing money and you already have taxes paid in, well, somebody else has your money then. So there's all of these different things that are going on, and it doesn't just happen one time a year. So I said, let me shake things up. Let's talk about taxes in September. And this is how I like to start off my presentation, with the reminder that life is tough, people. Accept the fact and And then maybe you could start enjoying life. And that's what I got from the book, The Road Less Traveled. And I love this quote. And it was, I think, in the first paragraph of the book. And that was the one thing that stood out to me, because I thought I was the only one that had it tough. I thought it was just me. I thought the whole world was against me, and it was me against everybody. And then I realized that it's really a level playing field. We all have different circumstances, talents, and stuff, but I don't care who you are. Even if you're born a prince, royalty, you don't think those people have problems? So what's insane is that as entrepreneurs, we make it even harder. We make it even harder because we're taking already a tough situation. Now we're saying, oh, let me start a business. One of the most complicated, confusing situations that anybody could get involved with. And I'm not saying that lightly, folks. I say this almost in a I want to scare you away from this, if possible. If you've never been in business before and you're thinking about it, I'm telling you right now to think twice, because it is not going to be easy. I can make it simple. I could help you make it simple, but I can't make it easy. And even according to Forbes, 8 out of 10 businesses fail. And I believe that the number is more like 98%. 98% of new businesses fail. And it might be even closer to 99.8%. I don't know. You can't believe the government statistics, but I can go by my own personal experience and what I see out there. But regardless of what the number is, the fact is that it is unbelievably complicated and confusing. Even if you want to drive an ice cream truck like I did, and that's part of my story, when the semester before I graduated, and I do like telling the story because it's true. And it was a wake-up call for me, because I thought being in business was easy. How simple is it to sell ice cream to kids? Kids are running up to you with, you're like the greatest thing that happened that day. They've been waiting all day for the ice cream man. And you sell them the ice cream. Well, what happened was I did my stuff. I made money. I was so proud of myself. And 6 months later, I get a letter from New York State saying that there was a tax warrant. Now, as far as I know, because I'm not a lawyer like some people, but as far as I knew, they were out to arrest me. I was thinking about how much money am I going to need for bail, and the most important thing is, what the heck did I do? What could I possibly have done to get into this much trouble? How was I ever going to be a CPA now with a tax warrant hanging over me? Well, the truth is that, this is a true story. I spent 3 days of I thought my life was over, because I didn't have the guts I was embarrassed to ask any of the accountants in the office. That I was working in a CPA office. And here I am with a tax problem. And that's the way. So I spent 35 years, and I finally came to the conclusion that it ain't simple. It's not easy. It's complicated. That's why so many people go out of business. They go into business with unreal expectations, not realizing how tough it's going to be. And once they hit that wall and they have that epiphany, like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? and then it gets tougher. So if you haven't been in business and I just talked you out of it, you can thank me later. If you're crazy enough to keep going, like I was, and all the other entrepreneurs that seem to take on all of this calamity, and it's just crazy. It is, and it's not that business itself it's crazy. What's crazy is when you start getting into how do I sell my stuff? How do I package it? What do I sell it for? Now you got to start learning things about like what a tripwire is, a call to action. I just want to sell ice cream, folks. Now I got to start learning about human psychology and stuff. And that's what we get dragged into. It becomes almost like a black hole. So I have made it my mission in life to help make business simple, fun, and profitable. It's so much easier to make money when you're having fun. And when you're having fun, there's so much more that you can do with the money. I mean, I hope that makes sense. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to cut your taxes in 2020. Because in all that confusion, what happens is people, they don't know what they don't know, just like me with the tax warrant. And in the meantime, all of this stuff is going on that we don't know. So who is going to have the time to sit down and say, oh my God, I think I should sit down with my accountant and start planning my taxes? No, the thing is, folks, here's the point. It's not a point in time when you sit down and start planning your taxes. It should be a part of everything that you do. In other words, cutting your taxes is just part of your business system, part of the process. It happens naturally because you're on top of your numbers. You don't get on top of your numbers at the end of the year. You don't get on top of your numbers one time a year. And that's one of the reasons why businesses fail, because they wait, they procrastinate. So I'm going to give you a couple of very simple tools and strategies that will not, I don't know if it'll blow your mind or say, because it's strategies that work. It's black and white. And if you do it, it will cut your taxes. Now, what's happened is, and I could break down all of the tax deductions that are available. I can make this very simple for you, because what the government did, folks. Let me come back on here. What they did was they basically eliminated any kind of tax write-offs for normal people. In other words, everyday people that have a job and a house and kids. Well, guess what? You don't get deductions for your kids anymore. You might get child tax credits and stuff, but there is no deduction. So you know whether you have 0 kids or 10 kids, you get the same tax deduction for them, 0. Okay. Itemizing. They raised the standard deduction and lowered stuff that you can write off, like state taxes and real estate taxes. So if you're in a state like California or New York, where there's high real estate taxes, high income taxes, you're limited to writing off only up to $10,000. So I have clients that lost big, $50,000 worth of deductions. just because of that role. Even things like job-related expenses. It's just become almost very, very few people are able to itemize. Basically, only if you have a big mortgage. So unless you have a big mortgage, there's almost nothing that you can write off, including charities. I mean, they said, okay, we're getting rid of all of this garbage, and it's and that leaves us with one place to get deductions, and that is with a business. And hello, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Usually learning. Okay. Yes, we learn the hard way. And Elizabeth is making fun of my ice cream man. I blasted music. I didn't understand. I used to play like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, and I didn't sell a lot of ice cream. I had to change my music. So, yeah. And no, Elizabeth, I'm not going to share. I can share tax code numbers because I know it's going to make you laugh, Elizabeth. But let's get into some basics here about how we're going to cut our taxes. The first thing, like I said, it's not even the easiest. It's almost like the only way is to start taking business deductions. I was actually going to cross out tax deductions because it's business deductions. It's the only real way for normal everyday folks to get some kind of control over what's going on with their taxes. So if you have a W-2 job, it is easy to start a business, and I'm going to tell you how. All you need to do to start a business is take action. If that makes any sense to you. So let's say right now I don't have a business, and then I say I'm going to start repairing doorknobs as a business. So I just decided to start a business. Now I'm going to start using my computer. I'm going to start doing things for that business. Maybe I'm going to start calling people. Hey, do you need a doorknob fixed? Now I'm using my phone. Now I'm in business. That's how you start a business. And once you start that business, you can start writing off business deductions. It's as simple as that. Yeah, you start writing them off. And then, I set up a Wave app system, and I go through all of the things on the steps you need to formalize the business. It's as easy as that to start a business. So if you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I wish my accountant can come up with some, creative tax strategies this year to save me," no. All you have to do is start a business, and then you got to start a bookkeeping system to document what you're writing off. So just that little bit of information, hopefully, if you're watching this, will spur something. Because I have to tell you, and I don't make light of this. I've been doing this a long time, and I have seen people legitimately start businesses, spend tens of thousands of dollars, and never write it off. And never write it off because they didn't know that they actually had a business, or they thought that they had to have revenue to write off the expenses. And I'm not talking about a little bit of money. I'm talking about people that I saw spend $50,000, $60,000 on business coaches, mastermind programs, all kinds of stuff before they made a penny. But that doesn't mean they couldn't write it off. Now, I also talk about being a corporation, which is a whole different subject, which makes it a lot safer to write it off. It's much safer to write off business deductions through an S corp than it is as a sole proprietor. But once you start that action and you legitimately are trying to make money, though, now we start getting business write-offs. Okay. The other issue that I see about on why people do not take advantage of this is because they simply think they are under the false impression that in order to have a business, you need to have revenue. In order to have a viable business, you need revenue. But the truth is that tens of millions of people start businesses all the time and never make a penny. They never generate a penny in revenue. But that doesn't mean that they can't take those deductions against their W-2 income. And okay, so Elizabeth's asking, as an S corp, you need to specifically file as one. Don't you have? What do you mean by a cheat sheet, Elizabeth? I can create a cheat sheet. I mean, I'm going to go through a list of, if we go through the rest of the lesson here, maybe I'll answer your question. So, you know, you want to have a business. So now what can you write off? Maybe if we want to make this, I don't know if this is a cheat sheet, but now we have the business. So now, like I said, now all of a sudden I'm using my computer. I'm taking stuff that was personal use. Because before I started this, now I have this doorknob business. I don't even know what I'm doing with the doorknobs, but I have something that I have this feeling. I can't get doorknobs out of my mind. And I want to make money with them somehow. So now all of a sudden, the computer that I was using that I paid $2,000 for now becomes a business write-off. Now I can write off the computer. My cell phone. All of a sudden, I'm using my cell phone for business now. The desk, the printer. In fact, everything in this office, including the pictures, are now business use because this is where I'm running my business from. Okay, so, and I don't care if you're a music teacher, you can write off the piano that you own. And I'll give you a real life example. Last year, I had a client, he decided to start a moving business. Well, during the year, he had bought this huge truck. It was like it was a plaything for him, but it was like a pickup truck. It cost him $50,000. But now we have a business. Now he's moving people. He's using that truck almost exclusively for business. So 90% of what he paid for that truck, we got as a tax write-off. All because he decided that he wanted to be in the moving business. Now, the guy's probably never going to make a penny because he has no idea what he's doing. Or maybe he will. I don't know. But, you know, the chances are that he's going to go out of business. If you look at the statistics, well, that's because he's a bad business person. But the truck was still business use, so we get to write off the business use. Okay. So, okay, I see. A cheat sheet. Okay, so a cheat sheet on what S Corps can deduct is very simple. Anything that you are spending money on that is business related, it's as simple as that. Okay, now you can stretch it. I mean, what the IRS did is, and I'm going to get to that with entertainment. I mean, there's only so much you can do with entertainment nowadays. But listen, if I got to fly to Hong Kong to meet with a client to discuss the business that he's starting, and I just happen to stay there for another week or two to enjoy it, well, I'm writing that trip off as a business deduction because I wouldn't be going there if I didn't have to talk about business. So anything that is business related is a write-off. That's what we assume. Okay. Now, I just had a client ask me if she could write off her makeup and stuff like that for Zoom meetings. And the truth is no. They specifically do not want you, the IRS does not want you to write off your makeup or your clothes or your shoes. And it doesn't matter if you're saying that it's because you want to look good for business. Those are personal items, if that makes sense. Okay. Now you can make an argument, and my client did, that it was only for business because she never does this. But anyway, that's it. And yes, Lisa, the truth is that you are supposed to split your personal use and your business use. When there are things like a vacation, like the trip to Hong Kong, if I only went there for a 1 hour meeting and I decided to stay for a 2-week vacation, that whole thing is not deductible. Okay. But what I would do is I would spend 2 weeks trying to cultivate new business in Hong Kong. So I would try to make as much of it business as possible. Now, I don't split hairs with stuff like this. If somebody goes on a trip and they say it's business related, we take a deduction. Now, as far as proving how much of that was business and how much was personal is a whole different subject. Okay, because proving, and I know Elizabeth might know something about this as a lawyer, proving that something happened and how it happened and what it was for is a whole nother area. And there's a lot of different ways to prove things. So you don't always need to have a receipt. You could have a journal. You could have third-party testimony. What I tell clients to do when they go on a business trip is go into an office, get people's cards, save them, make notes on the card so that you have this documentation to basically prove that it was business purpose. Because when it comes down to it, how can the IRS prove that I am not using this office here for business? It's pretty hard to, I mean, I can make, as long as I can make my case for business use, they would have a very hard time disproving it. And the truth is that normally never even comes down to it. Okay, if you follow the procedures, if you keep good books and records, good business practices, most businesses do not get audited. Okay, so I hope that I answered your question. So let's go through some of the other areas and I just covered this, the home office. Now, This used to be something that I shied away from because it was a big red flag. You had to, if you're a sole proprietor, you have to basically, inform the IRS, hey, I'm writing off my home on my business as a business expense, and that's a big red flag. So I always shied away from it. In today's economy, though, almost everybody, well, especially with COVID, there's going to be some huge office in the home write-offs I could see now. But even before COVID, most people did work from home. If you have a business, you're doing something from home. So, how we write it off now is really the question. And again, there's a way to write it off when you have an S corp that basically it makes it stealth. There's nothing on the tax return to tell the IRS that you are writing off a portion of your home. It's not required. And what you do is you set up, and I have a whole training on that. I do have a system, a worksheet where you document it, and basically you just reimburse yourself from the corporation to yourself, and it becomes a tax write-off, a legitimate tax write-off. Auto. So, before I had right now I don't even have a car because I choose not to have one. I don't like driving. If you live where I live, you won't want to drive around here either. Flushing, New York is not a great place to drive a car. Besides, there's no parking. But if I did have a car and I just started my doorknob business, and let's say I have to go to Staples for something, well, now that's business use. Now I can write off part of my car. Now I got a new client. I've been getting a lot of new clients lately, luckily. But I always look at new clients' tax returns, and she had a Schedule C, a sole proprietorship, and there were absolutely no deductions taken for auto, for office supplies, for just normal stuff that every business, you just have to have it by default. It's almost like not possible to not use your car for business if you have a business. Now, the amount that you use it for business is the question. And again, that goes back to documentation. Okay, when I did have my car here, before I sold it, it's almost a year now, I only had it for business. I only had it basically so that I could drive to clients. Well, then I fired all of the clients that I was driving to, so I had no more need for a car. And that's my story. I'm still carless, and I'm going to stay that way for the time being. Travel, like I said, my trip to Hong Kong. Now, everybody travels. Well, most people travel. I assume that most people travel. I used to travel. I want to travel in the future. Now, all you need to do is make sure that travel is business related. So, I went on plenty of business trips, business related, and conducted some personal business while I was on my business trip. You have to. Life is going on. I mean, if I go to a conference for a week, I'm writing all of that off. I'm not saying, hey, I spent 2 days in the pool, so that wasn't really business related. Now, in my field, in accounting, as a professional, you have to take professional continuing education courses. Well, they started offering the courses on cruises to Hawaii. So I could go on a cruise to Hawaii, and because I'm doing it for my continuing education, it's a business write-off. And all you have are accountants and enrolled agents and tax preparers on these trips. So, there is a way to travel and enjoy yourself and be in business. Meals, okay, again, my client that had a business, she had no meals expenses. And I said, how could that be? Don't you ever take a client out to lunch? Did you ever have a meal and discuss business? Well, there should be something on your tax return for that. Okay, so you want to take advantage of it. Now, it's without the entertainment. So what happened, the IRS got a little bit, or people got mad about rich people writing off their what do they call those, the Caddyshack thing? The golf club places. Country clubs. That's what it was. I was thinking of Caddyshack. But they stopped letting people write off the country club dues a long time ago. Now they stopped, the luxury boxes at the sporting events. So big company could entertain their clients. They would just buy these $1 million luxury boxes and just give their clients tickets. Well, the IRS said you can't write that stuff off anymore. Basically, if you're going to have fun, it's you're not writing off your entertainment expenses anymore. Okay, so now there's ways to present that, and I'm not going to get into it now, but just be aware that if you're doing something, if you're entertaining your clients, if you're buying them theater tickets, those things are not deductible anymore. So it goes back to how are you purchasing those tickets? And if you want more information on that, you can book a free chat with me by going to Time with Joe. We're almost out of time here, and I do want to finish up the presentation. And this is something that it's kind of shocking that almost nobody does this. But you could actually hire your kids instead of giving your kids allowance, and you would have to hire them to do something in your business. But let's say you're trying to save money for college for your kids, and you're not getting any kind of tax write-off for the college, for those funds. You might eventually get some kind of college tuition credits if they're still around by then. But let's say you're putting $10,000, $20,000 away for your children into a college fund. Well, if you're in a high tax bracket, you're much better off hiring them. You get the tax write-off, and there are limitations to how much you could pay them. But if you do it correctly, you could get actually a tax write-off for money that you're putting away for your kids for their college education. And that's 100% legitimate. Now, you could give your kids chores. They could clean up the office. They can do advertising stuff. Actually, you might be able to hire your kids to do your social media because they might be better at it than you. That's a thought. So that's another way to cut your taxes in 2020. Like I say with every presentation, if you learn anything today, take action. If you don't put any of this into play, you just invested time with basically no benefit. So that's my story. I want to thank you for visiting, and if you have any questions or comments, You could post them in the chat, and I will definitely get back to you. If you want to connect with me, like I said, go to Time with Joe, and I will be back again tomorrow with more fun and entertaining accounting and business stuff. Okay, good night. God bless. Thank you, everyone.